In this video, I'm going to show you how to heal your diverticulitis. I've seen people get rid of a lot of their diverticulitis symptoms in just a few days. And it's all about understanding German new medicine, which helps us understand what is actually going on. Because your idiot GI doctor is going to tell you that your body is attacking itself, and that's not true. There's something very specific going on. If you just watch this short video, I'll tell you exactly what it is and exactly what you need to do to start feeling better, to stop the diverticulitis symptoms, and to not have to worry about this ever again. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. All you have to do is pay attention for a little bit, and I will guide you through this. I've helped many people heal from colitis and diverticulitis. It is easy. It is easy and it is fast. If you know what to do, you don't have to go on a boring, bland diet. You don't have to be on dangerous, expensive drugs. It's easy. Ignore your stupid GI doctor. He's an idiot. I'm going to show you exactly what to do to heal your diverticulitis. So let's get started. So in order to understand what is going on, we need to understand how this all started and what we're dealing with, because the vast majority of people don't even understand what diverticulitis is. Yes, we know it's pockets forming in the colon, but how did those pockets get there? Why are they there? Why would the body put these pockets there? Why does one person get colitis and another person get diverticulitis? And we'll also talk about diverticulosis as well. So let's talk about how these pockets get here, because they get here in a very specific way, and you need to know how they get there, otherwise you can't get rid of them. So, for the vast majority of you, your digestive issues started after a stressful event in your life. In German new medicine, we call this a conflict shock. So you had this stressful experience that caught you off guard, that you experienced as an ugly, indigestible morsel. Let's say your boyfriend ran over your cat, and on the same day he broke up with you or something like that. Or your girlfriend ran over your cat, if you're a guy or a girl. That's a pretty traumatic, ugly experience to have to go through. And you just can't accept it. You just can't digest it. And let's say you experience this as an ugly, indigestible morsel. Now, to help you get through this situation, your body is going to choose an organ to adapt to run this significant biological special program. So in order to do this, what happens is, so you experience the conflict shock. You're not going to have digestive symptoms when this conflict is active, but the symptoms you will get are cold hands and cold feet. If we do a CT scan, you're going to see a sharp ring formation on the brain where the colon program is controlled from, in a very specific location. But on the organ level, what's happening here is cell proliferation. Your gut is making more cells, your colon is making more cells to help you digest this indigestible morsel. And you can see evidence of this if you ever had a colonoscopy and they say you have polyps or something like that. They're like, oh, you have polyps. That's a sign of leftover these extra gut cells. So let's say, this conflict active period, can last a few days, it can last a few hours. It all depends on the conflict and how you experience it and when it gets resolved. So how would you resolve your significant other running over your cat and then breaking up with you? Maybe you get a new cat. Maybe you get back together. Maybe you find a new partner. These are things that could potentially resolve the conflict. So let's say you get back together with your spouse and they're present to you as a new cat. Oh, this is great. And so now all of a sudden the conflict is resolved and you no longer need these extra gut cells. So what happens is with the help of bacteria and fungi, the body starts to remove these extra gut cells, and that's when you get the diarrhea, the blood, and the mucus, etc., all those fun symptoms. And if this all goes according to plan, the person goes back to normal. But this isn't normally what happens in the modern world. A lot of people are getting diagnosed with colitis. So how would someone get diagnosed with colitis? How would someone come down with colitis? So let's say a few months later, after you get back together, things go to hell and you break up again. That is called a conflict relapse. Now all of a sudden you're back into the conflict active phase, and because it's a conflict relapse. The conflict is like reactivated itself because the conflict is reared its ugly head again. You're back into the conflict active phase. All of a sudden the cell removal stops. Okay, all right, now we got to do cell proliferation again. It just turns into this mess. And now this tissue is like super inflamed and so, and then you don't it's going to take a couple of months to resolve it again or whatever. It depends on the situation. Maybe you get back together in a couple of weeks. Maybe you just get a new spouse or a new boyfriend or girlfriend in a couple of weeks, and then you can turn this off. But now we have something called tracks. So the first time you get these crazy diarrhea symptoms, you're going to blame it on your food. You're going to blame it on dairy. You're going to blame it on wheat. But in reality, it was you resolving the conflict. And that's when you're going to get your symptoms. So like on the day you guys get back together and the conflict is resolved, or shortly after, you're going to get all these symptoms, and instead of, blaming it on the conflict resolution, you're going to blame it on something you ate that day. And now all of a sudden these foods are dangerous. For good reason, because you legitimately think that these foods are the cause, but it's not. What's causing those symptoms is the conflict resolution and going into the healing phase, because that's where most of the symptoms are for the colon. So I know you guys are wondering when. Okay, all right, great about colitis, but when does the diverticulitis start? So when this happens like back and forth a few times, and you could also have other tracks. Let's say like the cat is a track. Every time you see the cat, you're reminded of your stupid ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, and you get diarrhea. You have these food tracks. Every time you eat milk or gluten, it reruns the symptoms of the program. And you get these symptoms, and it just goes back and forth, and then you get these pockets. It's like your colon trying to hold itself together, and you'll start to get these pockets, these nasty, these fun pockets, and it just, your colon looks like literal shit. So these pockets form due to constant tracks and conflict relapses. This reactivating of the conflict active phase, and then in the healing phase, there's the cell removal. And it's a lot easier to remove cells than it is to build cells. So that's how they get there. Those of you who have diverticulitis, itis meaning inflamed, you are still encountering a lot of tracks and probably conflict relapses. That's why they're inflamed. These pockets will be inflamed if you are, constantly hitting tracks and conflict relapses. If you have diverticulosis, the one where it's not inflamed, I don't know what the hell it's called. The one where it's not inflamed, then chances are somehow, by a stroke of a miracle, if you ask me, you have resolved the conflict and identified and neutralized all your tracks, which is possible to do without the knowledge of German New Medicine. If someone has like a really mature and good outlook on life, then it'll be diverticulosis or something like that. But it's when these pockets are not inflamed, and so that's a good state to be in. And sometimes, these pockets don't go away. It's pretty nasty damage. Sometimes it takes a long time for it to go away. I don't know the right, it depends on the condition, but sometimes if this is really bad and giving you issues, then sometimes it is good to do like a resection where you cut that out and you put it back together like that. That would be the last thing I advise. But if these are not inflamed and that's giving you problems, like that would be consideration. But if these are inflamed, then at the very least we know that you can identify and neutralize these tracks. So the cell removal isn't being activated and making these pockets worse. So that is what is happening with someone with diverticulitis or osis. They have these pockets due to this significant biological program of the large intestine, the colon, and their program is cell proliferation in the conflict active phase and cell removal in the healing phase. And the tracks just keep on activating that cell removal, and you get these pockets. And you stop the cell removal by identifying and neutralizing the tracks, things that remind you of the original conflict. It's really good to identify the original conflict, and it's usually pretty easy to identify the conflict of the colon because it's usually something pretty big and pretty ugly that happened in your life. And it's quite noticeable when you crap blood in the toilet. And to neutralize and to identify a track, like right after you get diarrhea, what did you come in contact with? What did you get emotional about? You can resolve your food tracks quite easily, saying like, "Hey, I'm not allergic to nutrients and energy. That's ridiculous. Like I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm not allergic to nutrients and energy. I can eat these foods. They are safe. They are tasty. They make me feel good." And if that doesn't work, then that food is probably tied to a conflict. Let's say your significant other that ran over your cat and got you a new cat and then left, or whatever. One of the times they broke up with you, you were eating pizza with them, or you were eating cake with them, and now every time you eat cake or pizza or whatever, it reminds you of that breakup, and it runs the track. So this is how it works. I know it sounds crazy, I know it sounds different, but it works. And if you just take the time to make a timeline of your life and map out like when the symptoms started and stressful events that happen around that symptoms, you'll see that it lines up perfectly. It's amazing. It's amazing the symptom relief people get when they realize that this is all in their head. That their psyche and their brain is in control of their gut, and all they have to do is switch it off like a light switch with the help of German New Medicine. It's amazing. I've seen so many people do it. You can go on my website and see all the countless testimonials that I have of different gut issues. So I have a ton of free information on my YouTube channel, which goes over more about German New Medicine. My newer videos go over German New Medicine and how to use it correctly. But if you want my assistance where I like hold your hand through this process, then I advise you sign up for my Rapid Gut Healing Program. And there's a link to it down below. And it comes with over 10 hours of videos on German New Medicine and what foods I recommend and what foods that I recommend that you avoid, and my favorite supplements to help you heal as fast as possible. It comes with a Facebook group where I answer all your questions at least once a day. We have live Q&As twice a week where I answer all your questions on a Zoom call. And we have a protocol workbook which has all these nice printouts and stuff to kind of help you, fill in the blank format, get through this process. I've had many people go through this process and have like their symptoms, their food intolerances disappear overnight, and their other big major symptoms get super much better in just like less than a month, some a week, some in a few days. It all depends on their condition and how well they accept this information, but it works. Your brain controls everything in the body, and I want to show you how to, get it back under control and help you get back to your life. So if you're interested in the Rapid Gut Healing Program, go down below and check it out. There's a deal going on right now, but we will raise the price without warning, so I suggest you check it out before that happens. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, leave a question down in the comment, and I'll try to help you as best as possible. And that's it. Bye-bye.